Well, hello, everyone. My name is Darren, and I am one of the marketing coordinators with BCIT's School of Health Sciences. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to the information session for the Occupational Health and Safety Certificate and Associate Certificate Flexible Learning Programs. First, I just want to say how happy we are to see you all, and thank you for joining our presentation today. And I want to let you know that you can post your questions or comments into the chat during the presentation, and we'll address as many questions as we can near the end of the presentation in the Q&A section. And if you could please keep your microphones and videos turned off until the end of the presentation to reduce connectivity issues and interruptions, that will be greatly appreciated. I'd like to mention before we get going that the British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. Our agenda for today is welcome and introductions, and then we'll cover the flexible learning occupational health and safety program options. We'll talk about who this program is for and how you will learn and what you will learn and where you will work and how can you progress in your career. And at the end, we'll have some questions and answers. And just before I introduce our main presenter, Dave, I'm going to pull up some polls. I'll end the poll and share the results. And now I would like to introduce David Wood, the program head for the Occupational Health and Safety Flexible Learning Certificate and Associate Certificate programs. Take it away, Dave. How did we do on this last poll?
Well, mixed, obviously. The correct answer, at least the most correct answer, would be enforcing safety requirements. And basically that is because that is management's job. It's the supervisor and manager's job to make sure that workers are doing what they need to do every day. Things like workplace inspections, a safety professional obviously will do a lot of workplace inspections. They will also investigate incidents, complaints, and training workers. They don't do all the training, but they definitely can do some training. So the most correct answer is the safety professional should not be going around enforcing safety requirements. You have to make sure that managers and supervisors do their jobs. And if they're not doing them, then they need some more education and training and other incentives. Okay, great. Are you getting rid of the poll?
Oh, actually, you have to clear that from your own screen. Sorry.
Okay, everybody got a job to do. Okay, so this won't take us too long to go through these slides, but let's start with this one. Why are people interested in occupational health and safety? Obviously, different people have different reasons for going into occupational health and safety as a career. It is very interesting. It's very rewarding, the work that you get to do to keep people safe. The pay and benefits can be quite good too. It's a great career. It's a great profession, and it really depends where you are coming from, what your specific reason why you are interested in the program. But most people that are in health and safety are very happy with their careers and how everything goes. So once you get in there, it is a great career to be in. It's never boring. Okay, next slide. So we have a couple of part-time studies, or as we call them, flexible learning program options. The first is, if you are not already in the program, which I assume that nobody here is you would start with the Associate Certificate in Foundations in Occupational Health and Safety. Now, this Associate Certificate is 7 courses worth 20 credits. It provides all the basic education you need to start work in an entry-level safety practitioner or safety technician role. So do the 7 courses. You can get through them within a year or 6 months, maybe. It depends on your background and your skills and knowledge coming into the program, how long it would take to complete that many courses. But at the end of it, you will be ready for an entry-level position in safety, so you can start your career. Now, the associate certificate meets the educational requirements for certification as a Canadian Registered Safety Technician, or CRST. That's a national certification standard that you can meet with just the associate certificate. And once you do the associate certificate, hopefully get a job in safety, you can ladder into the certificate in advanced safety management, so you can continue your studies and become more knowledgeable and more qualified. So as I just mentioned, the certificate in advanced safety management, it's about 14 or 15 courses. We do have 2, 3, and 4 credit courses, so it depends which ones you take, whether it's 14 or 15 courses. So that's 45 credits, and it provides the education required to progress from that entry-level safety practitioner or technician role that you start out in to work at a higher level. So you're working more in safety management rather than so much on the shop floor. You're moving into the offices with upper management. So taken after the associate certificate in foundations program, those two programs together meet the educational requirements for certification as a Canadian Registered Safety Professional, or CRSP. So the first one is a technician level certification, and the second is professional level certification. So what we look for, or what we think makes a good candidate for occupational health and safety, someone who would do well in the field, is we look for people with 3 to 5 years of work experience. So we really try to dissuade people in high school or just graduating from high school from going into safety. You need to get out into the real world, get some work experience, see what it's like to be a worker, and then move into safety, and you use the knowledge and skills you've learned as a worker for it will make you a better safety professional at the end of the day. We're looking for English proficiency in all 4 language skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. 2 years of education in English in an English-speaking country, and English 12 are strongly recommended for success, but are not required for admission. So if you don't have quite that much English, but you feel confident that you can communicate in English, then you are welcome to take the program. We're not going to deny you entry into the courses or program because you don't have a piece of paper saying you have passed a certain level. A lot of people working in safety do work with organizations or groups that have other languages other than English. So sometimes having a second or third language is a big asset for a safety professional. So not everything needs to be done in English, but you do have to have a good understanding and those skills in English. So student success as a safety professional depends greatly on the abilities and skills you bring with you into the program, as well as your work history. So the work history, you get to know the job hazards, understand the workplace culture, be able to relate to your fellow workers. That is all really important for a safety professional. As I said earlier, we're not looking at letting people right out of high school into safety, because technically they could pass the program, but if they pass the program and they're 19 or 20 and have never worked, getting a job in safety is going to be really difficult for them. Whereas if you have several years of work experience, 3 to 5 we recommend, but a lot of people in this program have been out working, graduated from high school or not, and have been out working for 10 or 20 or more years and have come back to take the safety program and do very well in safety because their work history, their knowledge of the job hazards, the job place, how things work in the real world is very, very valuable to the employer and to them themselves. So how are you going to learn? All of our courses are online. So you're going to go online and work your way through the courses. It's not recorded lectures or anything. There is a bit of reading. There are videos and links for you to look at, activities to do in each part of the course and in each course. So you should expect to spend 6 to 10 hours each week studying your course. So each course you take, expect to spend 6 to 10 hours per week. We have a term-based system at BCIT, so there are 3 12-week long terms each year. So the 6 to 10 hours you spend on the course per week is going to go for all 12 weeks of the term. So the courses are quite involved. There's lots and lots to learn in each course. It's not something you can just whip through in a couple of days. Each course has an instructor or tutor who can answer all your questions. So if you have questions, you can email or talk to your tutor. Most of our courses have 2 exams and 2 assignments. The assignments usually do about week 6 and 12, and the exams are usually done, the midterm exam around week 6 and the final exam around week 12 of the term. Assignments are completed and submitted online through the Learning Hub, which is our online learning management system at BCIT. As far as exams go, they have to be written with a proctor or at the BCIT test center. So they have to be proctored, I guess. It's a hard word to explain, but we don't let people just write the exams at home on their own. They are closed book, and we take the exams very seriously. A lot of the courses have class discussions, so those are online discussions, so you will get to communicate with some of the other students. The assignments themselves are, as much as we can, make them practical, hands-on things that you have to do, and they often require students to access a workplace to complete the assignment. So you might be doing a general inspection or a fire inspection, or looking at a safety program manual, or interviewing people. So we try to make the program and the courses and assignments very practical and hands-on, much like the rest of BCIT. So what sort of things are you going to learn in the Associate Certificate in Foundations, which is the basic program? You're going to learn, obviously, legal requirements for occupational health and safety in your jurisdiction. It's not restricted to BC. We also talk about other provinces, and we talk about the federal systems. So you will learn the requirements in your specific area. We have a whole course on accident investigation theories and methods. We talk a lot about hazard recognition and evaluation processes in our safety program design course. Hazard control implementation. So once you recognize and evaluate hazards, they need to be controlled. So we spend a lot of time talking about that. Overall, general safety program development and management is a big topic. As well, we look at safety culture in the workplace, how to develop and maintain a strong safety culture. If you don't have a good safety culture, anything you try to do in safety is going to have minimal effectiveness. So we really need to think about having a good safety culture, and we talk a lot in our courses about how to develop that and how to keep it strong. General safety management processes, all kinds of things we're going to discuss, as well as how to identify and manage hazardous materials. There's a whole course on identification and the management of hazardous materials. We also talk about education and training, communication and supervision. And also health and occupational hygiene, which is a little bit related to hazardous materials, what kind of exposures workers are getting, how to measure and evaluate and control them. So where will you work? I guess lots of people have that question. So most grads, most of the people taking this program, or a lot of them, maybe not most, but quite a few, start work with their current employer by moving into a safety-related position, maybe getting onto the Joint Health and Safety Committee, or just helping with the safety program in some method, or getting a formal job with their current employer. Or if they're not with their current employer, a lot of grads stay in the same industry that they have been working in. So if they're working in construction, then they're probably going to look at working in construction in a safety related position. The same goes with healthcare or manufacturing, or arts and culture, many different industries, and they all need safety people, safety professionals. So a lot of grads start working in their current industry. As they get experience and more knowledge, they can switch industries and work in almost any industry in BC or anywhere. So as I just said, they work in their current employer industry because they have a really good knowledge of people, the culture, the hazards in their own industry. And I also mentioned this, all industries require safety at some level. More hazardous injuries, larger employers have a much bigger need for hiring safety professionals. So you're looking at larger organizations and organizations with bigger hazards. Say construction has a lot of hazards, a lot of injuries in that industry. They hire a lot of safety people. The same with manufacturing and healthcare. So it really depends on the industry, where you might end up, what your interests are, what your needs are. Other big employers, private and public employers, include the government. WorkSafe BC hires lots of safety people. Municipalities, cities, places like that as far as public employers. Our grads also work in a few specific examples: healthcare, construction, forestry, mining, tourism, manufacturing, transportation, etc. There's a very long list of where you could end up. Job titles, things that you may be called when you are working in safety: OHS coordinator, occupational health and safety officer, OHS assistant, or occupational health and safety manager. It really depends on the employer and what they call it. There is no set standard for what job title is for occupational health and safety. You'll see all kinds of things out there if you look at the online job boards. Salaries do vary quite a bit, and it depends on the graduate and what sort of experience and knowledge they're bringing to the position, as well as their training. And it also varies depending on which industry you're in. Some industries definitely pay more than others. So they do vary a lot, but you can expect to start at around 45 to 50,000 or more. The last few years, the salaries for people working in safety have risen quite a bit. I know a lot of our graduates in the diploma program are making quite a bit of money these days. I'm quite surprised when I see the salaries they are starting at after they leave school. It's a lot more than 50,000 for a diploma grad. I'm talking about certificate and associate certificate grads, 45 to 50,000. But after a year or two, you can definitely increase that by quite a bit. And at the end of the day, you could end up in a very similar or the same job as a diploma graduate. It really depends on your performance, your knowledge, your personality, your skills, where you're going to end up in safety. There is a lot of opportunities, a lot of industries, a lot of employers, as I say, a lot of opportunities to increase that salary range to probably triple digits. Next slide. So career progression. Hopefully, some people are already working in safety when they do this program, but they feel they need more knowledge, more training, more expertise. So if you don't have that and you do the associate certificate, you're looking at starting at an entry-level job. So a safety technician or assistant or something at that level of safety practitioner. In starting your career, it is really good to start in a large department, a large safety department, because then you can get a lot of mentoring, you can get a lot of help developing your skills and knowledge, and you're not out there on your own having to make all the big decisions. It's much better to start in a group format. After 1 year of work experience, you can qualify to apply for the BCRSP Canadian Registered Safety Technician level of certification. So you need the associate certificate in foundations in OHS plus 1 year work experience in safety to apply for that credential. As you are working in safety, you can progress your career by taking the Advanced Safety Management Certificate program at BCIT. So you can take that part-time while you were working in safety. So you're increasing your knowledge and skills while you're gaining work experience. So that is very useful. A lot of people find that they really need to know more and more over time. So as you are working in safety, you need 4 years work experience to qualify for certification as a Canadian Registered Safety Professional, or CRSP. So while you're working in safety for those 4 years, you can take the certificate in Advanced Safety Management. You can take courses towards that certificate while you are working for those 4 years. So it's not something you have to rush through. There's lots of time to increase your knowledge. So with that experience and further studies, that will lead to better and better positions in safety and in safety management. Better positions, more interesting, you can have a bigger positive effect on the workplace, and they also pay better. So as I said, we have a term-based system at BCIT. Registration for the spring summer term opened on February 22nd, and it will close on April 2nd, and the term starts on April 3rd. So the 12-week term starts April 3rd, goes till the end of June. Registration for the fall term, which starts September the 5th, I believe, that opens May 24th, so you can register for courses in the fall term. That term runs September, October till the end of November. There's lots and lots of information on our website. Most of you said you found this this info session through the website, so I'm sure you poked around there, but all the information you need is on the website, or you can call me or anyone at BCIT to learn more. Next.
So I'm not sure if you wanted me to take over from here.
Yep,
I know
go ahead.
You talked for a while and you might need to rest your vocal cords. So now moving from academics, I would like to let you know BCIT is committed to supporting students in a holistic sense, which means we want you to succeed not only in your academics, but also outside of school. And some of the student services are available to you as a prospective student, and others will be available once you actually become an enrolled student. And here are some of the important supports that I'd like to mention. If you are Indigenous, BCIT's Indigenous Initiatives Department is there for you to ensure a smooth transition into your first year, and they offer peer-to-peer mentorship, a welcoming gathering place, and provide clarification on Indigenous funding. The BCIT's awards, scholarships, and bursaries are listed on our financial aid and awards webpage. And I'd like to mention that we have a President's Entrance Award, and selection is based on academic achievement, but also volunteer and community service. BCIT is committed to providing assistance to students with permanent or temporary disabilities. So if you have been accepted to a program and believe you may need accommodation to be successful, I encourage you to connect with our Accessibility Services Department. BCIT's Student Health Services is a health clinic located at the Burnaby campus, and they provide medical care to current BCIT students all year round. We also have a counseling and student development department available to help you enhance your educational performance and maximize your success as a student at BCIT. And last but not least, our recreation services promotes, encourages, and enables the practice of physical well-being. And we consider recreation an integral part of campus life and welcome all students to enjoy their services. The School of Health Sciences would love for you to connect with us on our social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Lots of good videos on YouTube for you to watch. And that brings us to our questions and answers segment. So I notice there's nothing currently in the chat, but if anyone wants to put any questions into the chat or even unmute themselves and speak live, they can do that. We'll just give a minute for people to think about that or type it out. Anything you can think of to mention, Dave, while we're waiting for any questions?
Not really, except to emphasize that there's a lot of opportunities in the field of occupational health and safety, and there is a huge need for well-trained safety professionals. We really can't afford to lose good workers to injuries or illnesses. You know how hard it is to hire new people now, hire someone, train them, get them into the system. It's not that easy. We need to keep the people that we have. So that's a big motivating factor for a lot of employers now to do more for health and safety.
Excellent, Dave. We did get a question. How many courses can you take while working full-time?
Well, I guess there's a couple of ways to look at that. If you're working full-time, definitely is going to limit your study time. So I would say 1 or 2 courses, but it really depends on the student. Some students we get have already completed post-secondary degrees. Some have done a lot of other stuff, other online programs, so they're fairly familiar with how things work. If you are new to the game, it's best just to start with maybe 1 course and see how many hours a week you spend on that. And then after your first term, if you think you can handle a couple of courses, you could try 2 courses in the following term. But definitely it's 1 or 2 maximum. Our courses are a lot of work. They're typical BCIT courses. So you're going to spend a lot of time and effort on these courses.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave. And could you please give us an idea about the cost of the technical level associate certificate?
Okay, the associate certificate, that's 20 credits. Currently, I believe our credit value, we charge $210 per credit. So it would be about $4,200 for tuition for the 20 credits to do in the associate certificate. There is a few course materials. We do have textbooks and other things in a few of the courses. So depending on which courses you take, there are some textbooks that you would need to acquire. I think there's only 2 that you need for the associate certificate. So it's probably about another $300 for course materials.
Great. Thanks, Dave. How have the graduates been able to work within their industry and regional district versus having to move?
Well, that's a good question. There are a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities now. Our students that are going to graduate in the diploma program, they're not graduating until the early June, and they're already getting jobs. So 3 months ahead of time, they're getting permanent jobs. The certificate part-time studies program isn't quite as popular as that, but there are still a lot of opportunities. So I would say it's a good chance of staying in your own area. However, if your area is like if you're in a very small town in BC, then they probably don't have a lot of safety professional jobs in some of those towns. You do need an employer of a certain size and with certain hazards before they're going to hire a full-time safety practitioner. So I guess it depends on, you know, where you're from. If you're from a small town and there's no big industry, a lot of towns have either mines or mills or forestry or other tourism or something like that. Those sorts of industries all hire safety professionals, but some of the smaller industries, they don't hire full-time people. So you might be looking at moving in that case.
Hey, great. Would you recommend any prerequisite course before taking this program?
Well, the skills you need to be a safety professional are pretty varied. So any training you've done, as I say, a lot of our students have already gotten post-secondary degrees. Most of our diploma program, even though our prerequisite is grade 12, most of the students in that program come with degrees. So they have bachelor's degrees from universities, even though they're not required. Any sort of other training that you've done coming into safety would probably be valuable. All the trades, if you've done any trades, it would be a very valuable thing to bring in. Business courses, communications courses, science courses, things like psychology or nursing. There's a wide variety of knowledge that a safety professional needs to have. So anything that you can bring into it is just a benefit. It's all a benefit. Communication is one of the most important skills that a safety practitioner needs. So anything to do with written communications or oral or writing business type reports, rather than writing an essay or some of the stuff you learn in high school. Maybe it's not that applicable in an English 12 class. So taking a communications course where you work on the writing skills more than you work on your Shakespeare is probably not a bad thing.
Excellent, Dave. And you more or less just answered this one, but in case there's a segment that you could expand on, are there other complementary courses that you would recommend to take, such as conflict management, business management, etc.?
Sorry, those are all great courses, and if you have the time and the opportunity to do them, great. I'd say they're not required or needed, but they're definitely going to be a benefit at the end of the day. So if that's where your interest lies, or you have an interest or background in those areas, or you just want to take those courses, great.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's currently all. If there's anyone with a last minute question, here we go. I've been out of the scene because of a back injury. Oh, is there more to that?
A lot of our students do come into safety because they were injured at work, either at work or at home, or have seen their friends or coworkers injured. So that is definitely a big route for people to get into a safety-related position. So having an injury is not a bad thing, other than you don't want to be injured, but you definitely get a lot of empathy and a lot of knowledge from actually working and dealing with these things.
Well, we have a very late comer here. And there was like the rest of Sasha's question, as an ex-nurse and a daughter's electrician, I'm very interested in this opportunity, I think was the word.
Yeah, definitely electricians need a lot of safety as well as nurses. Healthcare has a huge, huge injury rate, and they definitely need a lot more good safety people. So if that's your background, in our diploma program, we quite often we get doctors and nurses, mostly trained in other countries, but they come here and they go through our program. I think last year we had 4 doctors in our diploma program. So that is a big interest for people with medical or other backgrounds. And also any of the trades, whether it's electricians or plumbers or sheet metal workers, those are all excellent backgrounds for working in safety. You know the hazards, you know the workplace, you know the culture of the workers and how to talk to them and how to get things done. So all a big benefit.
Great, thanks, Dave. Dan just said, I've been on disability for 2 years due to a workplace incident and would love to pursue a career in safety or for WorkSafe. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
quite often we get people into the program and they're retraining because they were injured workers. So WorkSafe or Work BC sometimes sponsors students to take our program and to get jobs in safety. It really depends on their interest and their background and their goals, whether it's a good thing, but there are a lot of opportunities in safety. You don't have to be, physically fit and strong to work in safety. A lot of it is office work, so you're not necessarily going to be climbing ladders and going down into tunnels or anything. Some jobs do require that, but most do not. So there's good opportunity for previously injured workers to work in safety. And that is a lot of our students do come from that area. Some of our students are working in trades, and trades can be very physical jobs, and they can see that, by the time they get to 50, they're not going to be able to do those trades. So they start retraining sooner so they can work in safety. And working in safety means they can stay within their trade, within their union, and they can use all the knowledge and skills that they gained over the years, and they don't have to start from scratch somewhere else. So that's another big place that we get students and grads from.
Thanks, Dave. We're pretty much out of time. I just want to remind everyone that a copy of the slide presentation and links to the info session video recordings will be sent out to all registrants sometime next week, probably later in the week. And just if there's no more questions at this time, I'm going to thank you all for being with us today and wish you all the very best in your future in health sciences. And hopefully we'll see you around. So thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, feel free to call if you have any questions. Call or email us.